You are listening to WTUZ Radio Podcast. Welcome to WTUZ Radio Podcast. I am your host, Rhonda. Today's topic, I actually shout out to Sis Tressie. She always sends me great stuff. We've been talking about this a lot lately because it's been coming up a lot lately. We've, over the past couple years, told you all it was coming down the pipeline, and now we are at this point, and I am speaking of transhumanism, artificial intelligence. It is here now, family. She sent me an article where they are publicly promoting artificial wombs. So let me share this article with you. Okay, and this one is actually from RT News. I have to go back to subscribing from them, to them rather, because I used to always be on their stuff. So this came out yesterday, and this is Tech Bros propose replacing women with synthetic wombs. Taking away the responsibility of pregnancy from women could result in less wealth inequality by gender, one billionaire argued. Ciao. First of all, this is not shocking to me because this is really what they've wanted to do for a while. Okay. And the thing that is getting me is the fact that they're going to try to use it from a financial standpoint. As we get in the article, you're going to see them try to use it from a financial standpoint. And the underlying point of them using it for financial standpoint is so utterly ridiculous. Because the way this system is set up, a patriarchal system, I might add. Let me just put that in there. This is a patriarchal system that was set up, and it's so flawed and so unnatural that it is requiring women to not only be mothers to their children, but also to work in an unnatural system to take care of said children, or to work and help the same patriarchal man help take care of the children in the family. So the entire argument that we need synthetic wombs in order to free up women's time to work more is laughable at best. Not the point that the entire patriarchal system is an utter, total failure. Not the fact that a patriarchal system is oppressive to women and children. Not the fact that a patriarchal system is nothing but debt, slavery. Oh, no, not that part. Not that part. We need women to be out in the field working next to men. That's what we need. We need to get more work out of you. But we still need more children. We still need more babies. Oh, let's not mistake that. We still need more babies because we still need more slaves, more debt slaves. Now, I'm not going to find that as I read through this article. We're not going to find them talking points. So let's get into the article, and then we're also going to read within the article some of the responses from the public. And then we're also going to, I'm going to give you my take on it from an esoteric standpoint. All right. So several prominent tech entrepreneurs discuss the possibility of replacing natural birth with synthetic wombs, arguing that such technology would remove the, and they put in quotations, burden of pregnancy and allow women to work more. So on the podcast, I keep it clean. And luckily for their sake, this is a podcast, because I would truly, truly go in on the fact, allow women to work more. I would truly, truly go in on that with some choice words. After Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk warned on Tuesday that society should be much more worried about population collapse. Huh? Wait a minute. Excuse me? In my Scooby-Doo voice. Excuse me? Population collapse. I thought that y'all was just saying a few little years ago, was a couple decades ago, that the world was overpopulated. Then you started to say that the Caucasian population is in negative birth rate around the world. Blink 75 times, blink 75 times. And let's get into a little bit more on how you patriarchs keep messing yourself over. Because if I recall correctly, didn't China have a limit on the amount of children that need to be born per family? Matter of fact, they had a one-child rule. And if you wanted to have more children, you had to pay a fee. And so what did the patriarch of China decide to do? Which gender did they feel was more valuable? They chose the male child. They literally chose the male child. Hence, creating a shortage of women. So now China is at a point where they don't have enough women to procreate with. They did it to themselves. And China put the one rule child in play because back then, their leader, and I forget which Chinese leader it was under, they couldn't feed their population. Their folks were starving. So that was their answer to population control. And just to be clear, the Chinese government did not mandate for only male children to be born. They just put the one-child rule in place. And they didn't say you couldn't have more than one child. You have to pay a fee for each additional child that you have. And that fee, you had to, have some money to be able to do it. So hence most poor people that lived in the city didn't do it. Okay. Now, when I traveled over there for vacation, me being nosy like I am, and we was literally in the mall because the tour guides, they stay on script. They're not going to tell you anything outside of what the government tells them that they should say. So when I was asking questions, I could tell it was making them uncomfortable and they were dancing around it. So I didn't want to make them feel uncomfortable anymore. Plus, they weren't going to answer it no doggone way. So we were in this particular mall and I saw this couple and they had 2 children, if I remember correctly, toddlers, 1 boy, 1 girl. Cute little children. So me being nosy like I am, because just mind you, most of the toddlers that I saw running around were little boy toddlers. But see, I had already known going into this trip what the game was. I already knew what it was about. So, of course, my consciousness was on the look as I was out on the amount of male children I saw versus the little girls. Now, mind you, this was back in whenever they had the Olympics. I can't remember, y'all. When they had the Olympics, that's when it was. Because they were when I was there, they were building that birdhouse Olympic theater. So I saw more boy babies on the street. And side note, I don't know if they still let them do that. But they had little onesies that allowed them to pee on the street, just unflap the front and pee. They didn't have no diapers on. I was kind of disgusted about that. But that's neither here nor there. That's a cultural thing, whatever the case. So we gets in this mall and, we're in the city. I can't remember which city it was. I don't think it was. It may have been Beijing. I can't remember. So we're in this mall and I see the couple with toddlers, a little boy and little girl. So, of course, I had to be nosy. So it was... the mom had went up to like this food court thingy to get something to eat. And the dad was sitting there with a laptop. And I said, ooh, I know how to be slick with it. So I asked the dad, I said, excuse me. And I had overheard them talk. So I knew they spoke English. And so I asked him, I said, I just wanted to know where's the best place to buy a computer, this, that, and the third here, a laptop. Child did not need no laptop. Didn't even need it, honey. But I'm just trying to get in there to be nosy, right? So he was telling me, oh yeah, go to this factory, da 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 da. Because one thing about China, that's a shopper's haven. If you are a business owner into merchandise, that is the place to be. Most of the knockoffs come from there. The knockoffs are coming off the same assembly line as the real stuff. Yeah, honey, I got all the tea. The Americans and I, all of us Americans, when we was seeing each other, stopping each other, honey, giving the tea. I found all the tea out. It was one man over there into manufacturing, and he broke down the entire thing for me. I'm like, no, you kidding? He's like, I'm not kidding. He's like, yeah, I'm shipping back purses to my mother and my wife and my sister. He said, and they are the authentic ones, blah, blah, blah. But everything over here is dirt cheap. And sure enough, you go to, we would call it like a flea market. I know I'm rambling, just be patient with me. We would call it like a flea market, but it's huge, y'all. It is huge. It's like blocks long, stacked high. Anything that you can possibly think you want or need, you can get it there for pennies on the dollar. Okay, so Shoppers Haven. So that's why I was able to confidently be slick and ask this man where to get a laptop. So after that, we were talking, and he was telling me, and I was like, oh, your children are so adorable. And they really are. They really were. You know, they're probably preteens by now. Like, oh, they are so adorable, blah, 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 blah. And I forgot, y'all, how smoothly I got into the conversation about having more than this one child. Child, I don't know how I got that man to give up that tea, but he gave it up. And he said, yes, not that we can't have more than one child. You just have to pay a fee. And the fee is expensive. And the more children you have past the one child, I think he said that the fee goes up. I'm not sure about that part, but I do remember him saying that there is a fee to have more than one child. And that, you know, most people can't afford it. So that's why you see just middle class folks with more than one more than one child. But he said, but if you live in the rural areas, they don't follow the rules. They still have their children. And he said, because nobody's really going out there and checking. So, child, that's how I got the tea on what was going on in China. But like I said, that was back when they were built, when the year that they had the Olympics, it was 2 years before that. Either 2 years or a year before that. Because when I was there, they were literally building that bird cage arena. So my point being, China put themselves in the position to have a deficit on women because they chose the male children over the women. Okay? So now you have all these men and not enough women to birth their children. So then you jump over to India. India, not that their government put any limitation on the amount of children they could have. That patriarch culture valued the men over the little girls or the women. And now India has a deficit in women. It's so bad in India. I ain't telling you nothing from what I read. I am telling you what I heard firsthand, told to me by coworkers who are Indian from India about what is going on in their homeland. On how they are snatching little girls off the streets for the purpose of taking them away so they can become somebody's wife. I am not telling you something that I read. I'm telling you something that was told to me firsthand. Because the person told me when they go back home, they never leave their daughter out of their sight. And they was telling another co-worker who was going back home to visit, do not, under any circumstances, leave your daughter out of your sight. And she said because that particular person hadn't been home. Oh, I think she said like 20 something years. Could have been even 10 years. And she said the person was looking at her with a glazed look over her eyes. And she said she had to keep stressing to her, they are snatching little girls off the street. And so, of course, I had to ask. I'm like, well, such and so, why are they doing this? Is this like, a violence thing? She said, no. It's because of the shortage of women. I said, well, they're screwed, man. I didn't even know that India was having that same problem as well. So now again, this patriarchal system that does not value women, that does not value children, but yet you cannot live without either. So let me just say that again for the slow ones in the back. This patriarch system that does not value women, that does not value children, but yet you cannot live without either. So now you want to come up with an artificial womb. Oh, okay then. Okay. Let's continue. We should be investing in technology that makes having kids much faster, easier, cheaper, more accessible. Synthetic wombs, etc., propose Shahil Lavingia. You sound like you are an Indian from India. Said country or nation that I just spoke on. The founder of digital product trading platform Gumroad. Vitalik Buterin, co-founder of cryptocurrency Ethereum, agreed. Oh, so you did. Arguing that women would be able to continue working if the burden of pregnancy was replaced with synthetic wombs. So you mix to tell me that your answer is for women to work more? To the point where we don't even want you to take a break to have your babies, which they had already made it to that point now in the patriarch system, where the only break a woman gets is to literally let the baby pass through her body. And most have to get back up after 2 weeks and go to work. Some get what they're calling the luxury of 6 weeks. So what you mean to tell me, you degenerate Y chromosome, you don't even want that? So let's go into some of these comments because people start eating them up. So this is one of the comments. This is an awful idea. Synthetic wombs for what? Why take on the risk? So this is the Ethereum man. Disparities in economic success. Child. I guess I'm here, but I need to go back to the article because I don't want to lose my place. Disparities in economic success between men and women are far larger once marriage plus children enter the picture. Synthetic wombs would remove the high burden of pregnancy, significantly reducing the inequality. Are you effing kidding me? So you're literally telling us, patriarch, degenerate Y chromosome, that the unnatural world that you've built, even you, degenerate Y chromosome, you can't sustain a household on your own? Let me back that up. You're telling me right here that both man plus woman need to work in order to live when they are together, because the system that you built, degenerate Y chromosome, is a failure, where you yourself, degenerate Y chromosome, cannot sustain a household. That's what you're telling me, degenerate Y chromosome. So therefore, we can't even afford, me as a degenerate Y chromosome, cannot even afford for women to take time off to even bring souls into this realm. But you're saying it's because of economic inequality? Oh, okay then. So then you goes down to say a stunning chart shows the true cause of the gender wage gap. The gender wage gap is really a child care penalty. And I am not disputing this data. Do not get me wrong. I know the data is true. You do not have to tell me the data is not true. I know it's true. What's the root cause, degenerate Y chromosome? That it gets to the point where in order for a woman to survive with children, she has to work. Whose failure is that, degenerate Y chromosome? But let's just continue. Let's just continue with this logic. Buterin, who has an estimated network of 1.46 billion, claimed that outsourcing pregnancy to machines could mean significantly reducing the inequality of wealth between genders. Yeah. So another response goes, so grow babies in labs or what? Like the Matrix? Though Lavingia and Buterin received some support on social media. The majority of reactions were overwhelmingly negative, with critics comparing the idea to lab-grown humans from the Matrix. Boom. Another respond, no, removing women and the womb from human birth is not better for women, nor is it better for humanity. Hard to believe people support this. So, the Ethereum man responds, disparities in economic success between men and women are far larger once marriage and children enter the picture. Synthetic wombs would remove the high burden in pregnancy, significantly reducing the inequality. You sound like a bot responding to that, Ethereum man. So I'm going to say again, disparities in economic success between men and women are far larger once marriage plus children entered the picture. Whose failure is it? Degenerate Y chromosome. That a man cannot sustain a household. Whose failure is that? It's your system. You built it for you. So whose failure is it? That both parents must be working. So now that people are up on game, and they're just tired of the overall BS. They're tired of the debt slavery. So the numbers are dropping. The birth rate numbers are dropping. Now you don't have, you're looking into the future and seeing you're not going to have the amount of numbers you need to continue your failed patriarchal debt system. So now you want to do some matrix stuff. Now you want to reveal the true degenerate gene pool that you are, the creation of Inky Binky Linky Nim. And you want to dig out that technology. Using artificial wombs. Because you got to keep those slaves. Got to keep them going. Who do you think that you're fooling? We ain't buying it. We're not buying it. You're unnatural. You are a defective gene pool. You don't belong here. So this hard reset that you're trying to do, ushering in transhumanism, we up on it. We see it. You've showed your hand. Oh, yeah. You slid in the metaverse. You got a good reception to metaverse. You got people jumping up and down for metaverse. You got weirdo incels jumping up and down on their robotic partners. But now you're going to be stopped at the gate when you're talking about artificial wombs. So just go on and prepare that realm. Go on and get that realm prepped, that artificial realm prepped for your artificial wombs, and go live happily ever after. And get off of the organic planet with your inorganicness, because everything you touch turns to crap because you are unnatural. You are a failure. It's in your genes. Nothing you do is success. It always fails, and you have to remix it. We see what you're trying to do. So let's go to the comments. I be for affordable child care over a synthetic womb. Maybe that's just me, though. And sweetie, you being nice. Because you shouldn't have to have or for affordable child care. You should not have to make a decision, or whether you're forced, you should have the option or decision whether or not you want to stay home with your babies and raise your babies versus having a child and then being pushed back into the workforce. Your body ain't even healed yet. You haven't even had the opportunity to bond with your baby. So that's giving the degenerate wide gene pool and the failed patriarchal system too much room, too much leverage to give you affordable child care. Next comment. We should be investing in technology. Well, this is the response from an Indian man from India. We should be investing in technology that makes having kids much faster, easier, cheaper, more accessible. Again, you sounding like a bot to me. Another comment. This is so dystopian. Why not create a system where anyone contributing to society earns enough to build a family, buy a house, and live instead of constantly being priced out by inflation, said one person. What about that part, you degenerate Y chromosome that built a failed patriarch system? What about that part? Do you think we're stupid? You pushed it to the point where pretty much folks ain't willing to give up their energy anymore. You pushed it to the point where women have woken up and be like, wait a minute, let me sit here and calculate these factors of having children. Let me sit down and calculate these factors. That's your doing. You created the environment to not make it make sense to have children. So now you just want to create artificial wombs. So basically what you're telling the world, and I hope the world is paying attention, and based on these comments, they paying very close attention. You don't give a doggone, which of course I already knew that. Now they are truly starting to get that you don't give a doggone. We just need you to keep working. And see what the world will eventually wake up to, and it's going to be very, very fast. When you work and buy into their system with your consciousness, that keeps them alive. It can't get any more clearer to me than this. They're telling you that they need your energy in order for the system to continue, in order for them to be here. And the more you take your consciousness away from their system, the more that you put out what you want to do, what the world you want to live in, the weaker they become until they become non-existent. So this is a part of their huge reset that they are trying to do. Transhumanism. To try to call themselves breaking somewhat of the dependency of you, the natural beings. But see, I understand universal law. And I know you have to have consent. And we do not consent to it. You are afraid because now the energy has shifted. We're all unnatural beings. You gotta go. So again, I understand universal law. We do not consent. And all things unnatural must go. So I don't care how much technology, snecknology, technology you put out. You gotta go. So go on and build, because you done already built it. Build your artificial realm and go on and do what you're gonna do. Get going. But just know, in the natural, organic realm, we don't consent. And going against our consent, you already know what time it is. You know it's a violation of universal law. So, another comment, the reason the majority of people are choosing not to have children, aren't having them, is not because they're lacking quick and easy synthetic wombs. It's because it increasingly feels like you need to be a millionaire to have them. So let me just run that past you all again. Although I know y'all know that. We already know this. The reason the majority of people are choosing not to have children, aren't having them, is not because they're lacking quick and easy synthetic wombs. It's because it increasingly feels like you need to be a millionaire to have them. Now let me tell you, unnatural beings, how this works. And you already know how it works. You messed up. You made huge mistakes in your patriarch system, didn't you? You made huge mistakes. So now you have created conditions where people are saying, I don't see the benefit. I don't see the benefit of having a bunch of children, if they have children at all. So now you don't have enough of that energy to continue going. But guess what? You don't think the organic planet planned it that way? You thought that you was out slicking the organic planet? Just like you thought you were out slicking women? Now you're scrambling. You're scrambling to do this hard reset on the organic planet, and I'm telling you, it ain't gonna happen. We do not consent. So, last little point. In 2019, scientists in the Netherlands claimed they were within 10 years of creating the world's first artificial womb. That technology, however, is intended to be used to protect premature babies rather than to replace natural pregnancy altogether. So I'm going to come back on this topic. I have another one, but I'm not going to go into it right now because I didn't intend to be this long in this article. Guess it had to be said. Shout out to Sis Tressie for bringing this to my attention. Again, this is from RT News. This is called Tech Bros Propose Replacing Women with Synthetic Wombs. And again, I say we do not consent. So this is Rhonda with WTUZ Radio Podcast. I want to thank everyone, and I wish everyone well on this Thursday. We will actually be live tonight on YouTube on the Truth Uncompromised channel at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The topic we are going to discuss the Black Americans' participation in the Revolutionary Wars. Okay, so we'll be there tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope everyone's doing well. If you are not subscribed to us, I highly encourage you to subscribe, like, and share. So this is Rhonda with WTUZ Radio Podcast. Peace and love, family.